Nick, so your Chiefs obviously have been dominant this year. Even without Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes has been able to distribute the ball to the Juju Smith-Schusters, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, all those dudes. He's just that dude that's able to distribute the football that effectively. But I got to ask, who's the biggest threat to your Chiefs in the AFC?
Well, certainly the Bills are a solid team. I think that it really just kind of depends on game script, of course, but I think that with Mahomes playing so well, it is tough to really singularly put one team that could beat the Chiefs. But I think that the Bills are obviously the most complete team in the AFC, and when you're comparing most complete teams, I think it is Bills and Chiefs. So I think naturally it's up to those two, up to that squad that could beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think this is the easy answer here. I mean, take an easy way out with this question, but I have to tend to agree, especially as the Bills were to get healthy, you can make a clear argument that they're most complete team. They're going to get Tre'Davious White back here in a couple weeks, and I think that they'll play this smart. And even if they cost them a game because they rest Josh Allen for 3 games, having this squad completely healthy and with a fully healthy Josh Allen come early January and into the playoffs, I think would be best for them in their playoff run. And so I think as they get healthier, they're going to be more and more competition. I will say for the Bills, they just don't run the ball, and they can't put you away.
They need to run the ball. Yes. That's the thing. They need to run the ball.
And if they do run the ball, they would have easily put away the Packers. And not saying they would have beat the Jets, but they could have put them away because they were up in that game. It was like 14-3 at one point or something. So that's my criticism with the Bills. One other thing I would bring up, and I won't say too much. I don't know what your answer is here, Luca. The Dolphins, if they incorporate Bradley Chubb, I don't like the Dolphins going to Arrowhead in a cold weather game in late January. I don't love Tua in that condition just because, I mean, I haven't seen him a lot. Played in Tuscaloosa, plays now in Miami. So that would be the one worry there. I think there's worries with all these teams and I know the Chiefs aren't even the number 1 seed right now. They're just, in my eyes, I think the team over the Bills at this point right here. And I don't know. I think there's one more team too in Baltimore that you could also argue.
And I was going to argue because obviously the Bills are the team, in my opinion, because they played in the cold weather. Josh Allen's used to the cold weather. I mean, we saw that game against New England Patriots where Mac Jones threw the football 3 times. And that's the thing, by the way, about Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills. That offense is Josh Allen. They have got to be a little bit more reliable on Devin Singletary. You can put James Cook in there. And maybe they need to start using Naheem Hines a little bit because they just acquired him. Because Josh Allen, you cannot be throwing the football 48 times every single game. They've got to run the football a little bit more. Do they not trust Devin Singletary? I don't know what the answer is. But definitely Baltimore could be a scary team because if it is cold weather, Lamar Jackson can throw the football. We'll see if J.K. Dobbins is back. I have no clue. But they do have Kenyon Drake, who can run the football clearly. Gus Edwards could be a little bit scary. Justice Hill. They have the running back core, right? And now they just acquired Roquan Smith on the defensive end. And they're getting back dudes like Calais Campbell. They got a Tyus Bowser. These dudes are coming back, and they are going to be scary defensively. And we have seen how the secondary has improved as the season has progressed. I wouldn't want to play this Baltimore team, but at the same time, they really don't have the receivers necessarily for Lamar. I mean, Rashad Bateman's out for the season. Duvernay's too inconsistent. But really, the only person that scares me is Mark Andrews in that offense.
Yeah, no, I completely. I'm not scared of any. I mean, he's scared of 35-year-old Deshaun Jackson, who I think maybe even got hurt in his first
Jackson.
game. I will say, to play devil's advocate, because I totally just thought about this when I was sitting here, is bringing up I brought this up early in the show. It hasn't burned the Chiefs yet, but the Chiefs also can't run the ball and put you away because, like
That's
I mentioned,
true.
the Chiefs' leading rusher the other night outside of Mahomes at 5 yards. Their 2 running backs, Pacheco at 5, Clyde Edwards-Helaire either at 4 or 5. So, I mean, that's a problem they've got to figure out, too, because they don't have a bruising back. I mean, we've seen flashes of it from Pacheco, but they don't commit to him. And Edwards-Helaire is closer to muscle hamster Maurice Jones-Drew than he is to a bruising back. So, one other team I want to throw in the ring, they're just too inconsistent, is if they could figure it out, we know what Cincinnati's offense can do, and they're going to play the Chiefs here in a couple weeks. I think it's in Cincinnati, and potentially have Chase back in that game, so that could be a really fun showdown to potentially see. The Bengals, I think, have some inconsistencies that they need to work out. I mean, you saw how horrible they looked against Cleveland just 2 weeks ago. But the Bengals defense is incredibly underrated. They have some really good names that you just don't know about, and their offense, if they can get locked in, that would be one.
Eli Apple's not one of them, right?
No, he is certainly
good.
not. He's
Got
certainly
it.
not
Just
one of them.
wanna make sure.
The Bengals are one of the best second half defenses in the entire NFL. So when it counts, they've tended to turn it on and make some big plays in some big money situations. But overall, I mean, like, I think this conference is relatively bunched up. There's probably 4 or 5 different teams you can talk yourself into and be like, would I be too shocked if they win 1 or 2 playoff games and find themselves on conference championship weekend? No, not at all.
So obviously the non-playoff teams, right, the most dangerous that could be in the playoffs, the Cincinnati Bengals are definitely one of them, right? Because once they get Jamar Chase, who I want to consider the heart and soul of that offense, because that is how electrifying Jamar Chase is, and that opens up the T. Higgins and Tyler Boyds and Hayden Hurst on that offense, but they still cannot run the ball. I mean, Joe Mixon has been so inconsistent this season. That's not necessarily his fault. The offensive line is trash, okay? Mm-hmm. Joe Burrow has no time to throw the football. I think he has the least amount of time to throw the football behind that offensive line. He's been sacked the third most times in the National Football League this season. That is a cause for concern because we saw what happened with his ACL a couple of seasons ago, and that is a cause to pause. But the other team that could be dangerous, and this is more directly to the Chiefs, if they decide to play more defense, which that is what Brandon Staley was hired to be for the Los Angeles Chargers coach, is obviously the Los Angeles Chargers. I would be scared to play Justin Herbert because that is how good Justin Herbert is. He's been down more this season, but I'm not going to count them out just yet. Keenan Allen's been out. Mike Williams has been out. But Josh Palmer, he's good. Austin Eckler is that dude, but good Lord. Against the run, it's like stopping a nosebleed. They can't stop a nosebleed.
Mm-hmm. It is funny. We talk all these teams we talk about. It seems like
they're all in the
AFC.
AFC. That's the thing.
Well, no, we are talking about the AFC. No, the similarities here is it feels like there's a weakness in the run game. And as good as Joe Mixon was on Sunday, that was just his third game.
It was against the Panthers. I'm not reading much into that.
This was just his third game this season, averaging over 4 yards a carry. I mean, and part of it's the offensive line, but he really is. Up until Sunday, had not shown a ton of bursts this year, and I think that was a big key right there. One more team, as we keep going on and naming team after team, is we haven't even talked about the Titans yet. The one team out of this group that can run the football, and as bad as their offense looked, the fact that they were in that game as long as they were with their quarterback completing 5 passes is, one, a sign of how good their defense is, and 2, how good their Coach Mike Vrabel is. Tannehill getting them back. Traylon Burks just started practicing again yesterday. It's not an offense that's going to put up 40 points on you, but if they can play defense and keep you on the sidelines with Derrick Henry, who's been getting better and better as the season's gone on, I mean, that is, will I pick them to win multiple playoff games? No, I won't. But if one game, if they had to say with Ryan Tannehill healthy, could they keep it close against the Chiefs? Yeah, we just saw them do it with Malik Willis and no receivers to be found.
Yeah, I couldn't find Robert Woods. I couldn't find Austin Hooper. There is nobody on that team that can catch the ball at the wide receiver position because they're never open. The Tennessee Titans is tough for me because this team can't stop the run. There's no doubt about it. They're iffy in the secondary, so I'll give them a pass there. But obviously, when you got Derrick Henry, anything's possible.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And it's a team that can win in pretty much any condition. And I think I would take them maybe to win on the road a little more than a couple of these other teams. It is as crazy as we talked about all season. We had the Bills and the Chiefs in this tier, and I still think they deserve.
What about the
to
Jets,
be in that
by the
tier.
way? What do you think about the Jets?
I don't trust Zach Wilson. It's just so hard for me to. And he played good against the Bills. I think Josh Allen threw that game away just as much as Zach Wilson won it for the Jets. I just can't trust him yet until I see him put together a string of games. I mean, we're still just a week and a half removed from that absolute disaster against the Patriots. They're going to play the Patriots again after their bye.
If you ask me.
Yeah, they're going to play their Patriots again in Foxborough, and that could be another one where if the Patriots stop them, I think we have to seriously consider, like, how can we take this Jets team seriously with Zach Wilson at the helm, who is showing minimal signs of development in year 2.
Yeah. Anything else, or...
No, I definitely agree. I think it's tough to trust them and the Jets, rather. And the Chargers, the Chargers were one of those teams I think had pretty lofty expectations. They just struggled to stop the run, and they lost one of their best defensive linemen this past game, Austin Johnson, who was very underrated for their roster. He's out for the year with an MCL injury, which is really tough for them, especially because they have already struggled to stop the run, and he was signed on a 2-year deal to come in and help shore up that run defense. And while they haven't done it, it's certainly not going to help now that they lost one of their most underrated pieces.